Oh, snap, crackle, and pop. We are live, mother effers. We are live, and we are ready to crush today. We're ready to slay, right? We are about to eat, I think, as they say. We served, and now we're eating. Don't ask. Don't ask. It's a Gen something thing. I don't know. But thank you. Thank you. You know what? They're probably applauding right now, but you have no idea.
Such a boomer.
You have no idea what's happening. you have no idea. You're like, where am I?
They're cheersing you right now.
Nobody's. They're jeering me. Maybe not cheering. I have a list. It's we're gonna be having a great time tonight, so it's gonna be a lot of fun, everybody. I'm gonna do some.
And hopefully informative.
I hope so, yeah. I'm going to do some background work. Kevin might expose himself live tonight. Speaking of which...
Yes, I'm here for that.
Kevin...
Front row seats.
Kevin, what... Kevin, it's not October anymore. It's not Halloween. Kevin, you need to give it up. You need to take the mask. Kevin, it's been like... you've gotten in trouble at work over this. I've tried to talk to you. Now I have a larger group of people here to say, enough's enough, Kevin. You have to take the mask off. You almost killed somebody driving down the road that way. You can't. And eating is not, you're just smearing it all over the mask. It's not going in your mouth. You haven't eaten in weeks. Your brain's starting to get weird. Kevin, I need you to take the mask off. Please, everybody, can you ask Kevin to take the mask off?
Kevin, white face once is charming. White face twice is offensive. So take it off.
It's not a white face, it's a green face.
It looks pretty white from here. It looks pretty white
There's
from
an extra
here.
Same thing.
right now.
Green face once is charming. Green face twice is freaky.
Yeah.
So take it off.
He's
Look,
not wrong.
it's extraterrestrial month. I want to honor our extraterrestrial brethren.
Is it, though?
Maybe- Yes,
Is it extraterrestrial month? For sure?
I think so.
Are you sure
I
about
smell bullshit.
that? Sal, you always smell bullshit. What the hell? Oh boy. Oh, we got a comment already. Show Bunny says hello from Arizona. Now, when Kevin exposes himself, should I cover my eyes? Well, that's up to you, to be honest. I mean, you don't have to. You can, but you don't have to. Gorilla Todd Comics, hello. Angel, hello. He says hi to Big Sal, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yep, those are my peoples right there. Show Bunny and Taz.
Nice.
I researched it. There's an extraterrestrial day in February, but there's no extraterrestrial month.
Oh, really?
Oh, so I'm off by about 3 months, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Uh-oh.
Hello, Gorilla Todd. It was great meeting you yesterday, brother. I hope you got back to Vegas safe and sound, sir.
Gorilla
Which,
Todd.
by the way, Area 51 is in Nevada.
Yes. But also, if you go to Roswell, that's in New Mexico. So there's that.
That is true, too.
So we have all kinds of opportunities for aliens in every month, really. In every month.
As we should.
Yes, as we should. Gorilla says, yes, I did. Same here. Awesome. You met Gorilla at the shop?
That is correct. Him and two of his buddies, they visited the shop, had a good time, bought lots of books that we got in the collection recently, and
nice.
It was good. Good conversation. Matter of fact, Mr. Todd is a teacher in the Las Vegas area, and he has many other talents.
There's some pretty good shops in Las Vegas, too. Everywhere I go, and you can ask Chris this, and whenever I go on vacation or travel anywhere, I'm always looking for a comic shop. So I'm always looking up shops. So I've been... from Ohio to New Orleans to New York to Vegas to Seattle to Portland to Thailand to Ireland to Scotland to, I've been everywhere I go. Comic shops and vinyl record shops and stuff. So I'm all over the place.
Too much time sometimes, but
it's worth it though. You get to meet a lot of cool people.
You're like a hooker for comic book stores.
Yeah, I'm a whore for comics.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna change our name to instead of Rumble Pop or the Real Short Box. We're gonna go with whore for comics. Oh, I wouldn't laugh too hard. It's gonna have your picture and it's gonna have a short box coming out of it.
Oh snap!
Right out of your mouth.
And then when we make our shirts, only thing you'll see on screen will be whores. and then his face. We'll see the rest of it.
Right. Yeah. That's how we'll just design it that way. So, good luck, Sal.
All right. On the back of it, the box is going in your mouth.
Oh, ouch, ouch, ouch. Guys, if you're in the chat or you're watching the show, please feel free to give us a like. Boost us up in that algorithm. The more likes we have, the easier it is actually for people to see us. And that being said, before we get started, there's just a couple things I want to mention. One of them is we do have shirts for sale. Occasionally we're going to be giving some away, but they are always for sale. We do have the Rumble Pop shirts, these lovely Rumble Pop shirts that come in all different sizes, like Chris is wearing right now, and it looks like Kevin is also. We've got them right now in medium, we have it in large, and we have it in extra large. So we have the Rumble Pop shirts in medium, large, and extra large if somebody would like one. They're just $15. We try to make them cheap so people will wear them around. We also have the real short box ones that I'm wearing. In extra large, we have 2 extra larges left. So we have some available here that we are willing to ship to you. It's $15 and it's free shipping. So, or if you're local, we just hand it to you. So if you want a shirt, you can always feel free to reach out to us at our the Real Short Box at gmail.com. You can reach out to that one, and we are available. Hell, we'll sell anything. Kevin will sell his soul.
Well, I don't know about that.
Uh-oh, Mom and Dad are here, everybody. Say hi to my mom and dad. Hi, Mom and Dad.
Hi, Mom and Dad.
Pops.
Show Bunny says, I'd buy that merch. Oh, well, there we go. I don't know what size you'd be interested in, but we do have them available. So reach out to us for sure, and we can hopefully get you taken care of. Gorilla says, the shop was cool, but the banter was priceless.
Yes, it
I
was.
apologize in advance for Kevin and his banter. I know how his banter goes. He dresses in inappropriate. He was probably wearing the mask at the time, the alien mask. So I do apologize for him in advance in that.
You have
matter
no
of speaking.
idea how I was dressed.
You probably were just wearing that. You had a shirt on and no pants, or you had pants on, no shirt, and you had the mask. And a tie. It's one of those several options.
Don't forget the handkerchief.
Or
around the neck.
loincloth.
Around the neck, the kerchief.
Did you get pressed from the back or from the front?
Neither.
Ooh.
The Jabba the Hutt Princess Leia costume.
Hello, Christopher. Thanks for joining. Good to see you. We got a couple first timers in here, I think, so that's pretty exciting.
Yes, Chris is also one of the 3 gentlemen that came to the shop from that great state of Nevada.
Look at that. I had a guy from Kevin works at a shop called Spiro's Heroes, and I work at a shop called We Can Be Heroes, which is just down the street from Spiro's Heroes. So we work at 2 different comic book shops, and I'm not kidding, and they're within walking distance of each other. So we always are handing out our business cards, and oftentimes, I don't know if this happens to Kevin, but I'll go to hand a card, and they'll be like, "Oh, I just was.
Yep.
Is this
it
the
happened.
same? I was just down the street, and they gave me a card already, and I was like, Kevin got you. Okay, good." And so
happens.
we had a guy that just came in from Germany, and he was super excited because we were having a sale and stuff, and he was very excited about getting some Lobo comics and taking them back home to some of his friends in Germany. So I thought that was pretty cool. So you meet all kinds of people all over the globe, which is a wonderful thing. The comic book community is fantastic. That's what I love about the comic book community. It's pretty great. And I hope everybody appreciates it as much as I do, because it certainly is a warm and welcoming place, or at least it should be anyway. And if it's not, then you're with the wrong group of people. But that being said, we've got some stuff to do. I normally have some stuff to do in the background here, but I think I already did it. So I've already posted everything, Kevin. So we're posted. We're ready to rock and roll on that if you want to share that. So if you want to go ahead and give us a little quick opening for everybody so everybody knows what this is about and what we're doing, and then we can get started.
All right. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everyone in the 24 time zones on planet Earth. Welcome to the most powerful, most Netflixy podcast on YouTube. It is Rumble Pop. And now I'm going to quickly introduce to you my co-hosts and co-conspirators. First, the man in the blue headset, the man from that great state of Ohio, a man who is an insane Pittsburgh Steelers fan, a man who is the #2 fan of Bruce Campbell. He is considered one of the best looking men in North Hollywood, California. And as he is also DC Comics for life. If you have a problem with it, he just might pop you in the mouth. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the man who's always socially lubricated, the original Dono.
Oh, thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Next, a man who's from that great state of Michigan, a man who now resides in that beautiful Lone Star state of Texas. He is one of the most educated men in America today, a learned man, a righteous man, a manly man, a man who makes sure that the young people are educated in the fine arts of thespianism to make sure they get a job on Broadway, Hollywood, or on the independent circuit. Give it up for Mr. Professor Chris D. Turr.
Thank you.
And last, but certainly not least, a righteous man, a man who always turns the other cheek, a man from the harsh streets of Santa Clarita, California, a man who has his own YouTube channel, Osiris Reed, where you will experience the power and the complexity of superb gaming.
Oh, wow.
You will also feel his hip-hop lyrics touch your soul.
Ooh.
Give it up for the one,
I got
the only,
sexual.
Big
Yeah.
Sal Hernandez.
Touching souls and touching holes.
Oh God. You gotta pay the toll if you want to get into to get this boy's soul.
And of course, I am your humble podcaster, the Grand Master of the Jedi and Vulcan Arts, your Supreme Chancellor, Brother Kevin. Brothers and sisters around the world on YouTube, we're going to do something very interesting, a first-time thing on Rumble Pop.
No clothes!
Well, I don't know about that. That's
Oh.
your business, sir. That's your business.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
We're going to discuss and rank some of the best TV shows on the app or on that streaming service known as Netflix.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay, that sounds exciting. I'm
Are
in.
we calling shows on Netflix TV shows?
Well, TV shows, miniseries, we know it does kind of stretch out there.
It has been pretty spectacular, I'm going to say. I used to complain all the time about network television and their need for like 23 episodes in a season and how you'd have so many. Imagine, if you will, how much more fantastic Lost would have been if it could have boiled it down to a concise, like 6 to 8 to 10 episodes per season without all those filler bullshit episodes that we got. Like, how fantastic would that show have been? That's the kind of shit we'll never know because we didn't have this at the time. And I would always complain. I was like, the BBC knows how to do it. Like, they'll put out 6 episodes of like a mini series or something, and then if it takes off, they're like, okay, we'll do another season, but still 6 episodes, and we'll do another season, and so on and so forth. Darabont tried it with The Walking Dead, and he got lambasted with the network that they were like, no, we need more. This did really well. We need more content. So we're going to go to 13. We're going to go to 19. We're going to go to 23 or however many damn episodes they were doing per season by the time it was over. And he stepped away. He was like, no, this is ridiculous. I want to do it a concise, tight 6 episodes and make them fantastic. That's why, to this day, the first season is still the best season of The Walking Dead. It's because it was that tight 6 episodes. And that's what we're getting with like streamers like Netflix and stuff. We're starting to see that they have understood this and they are adhering to it, and it's working. And that's the most important part. It's working because they listened. We got a couple more people that popped in, by the way. Retro Tech popped in. Hello, thank you for joining. Alex Bankita in the house. What's up, Alex? Good to see you,
What's up,
sir.
Alex?
And then Enrique is here. Hello, Enrique. Good to see you, good sir. Always a pleasure to have you here. Now, that being said, since we are talking about Netflix and stuff like that, we're talking about sometimes that they need to cancel shows. It happens with Netflix. In which case, I think this is what I imagine. One of the producers runs up and they're like, Netflix, Netflix. And the guy's like, why are you sweating? And he's like, Netflix, Netflix. And he's shaking the director. And the director's like, what's wrong? And he's like, they're. And he's like, what? And he says, they're pulling out.
Kids because they pull out a lot.
Hey guys, that's right. This is the segment where I talk about comic books because we always have to relate our podcast back to comics no matter what we do, because comic books, that was the birthplace of this podcast, so I always like to keep that little nugget of truth. Now, we do have our audio podcasts every week. You can catch us on Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, etc., etc. You can find us all over. We are The Real Short Box. And we do this one every week, basically. And that's our audio podcast. Now, this is our live show. This is Rumble Pop. So we have where I pull out for you guys. So I hope you enjoy. It's just 3 comic books this week that I'm going to review. The first one is Almost Dead. Now, you know it's going to be a real treat when it's written by somebody that calls themselves Galaxy. It's just Galaxy. Now, that's a name, right? That sells you on something. Like, that's Interstellar. The problem with this comic, it's interesting because I wanted it to be good. I wanted to love Almost Dead. And I could have if it wasn't for the fact that the writer felt it necessary to tell you everything that was going on. And by that, let me just explain really quickly on this. It's very interesting. In how this happens. So some of the basic stuff, like even some of the actions, I think, here's what I think may have happened, and I could be wrong. Like the editor didn't take out like some of the stuff. So like she's looking in the mirror, right? You know, this girl's looking in the mirror, she's thinking and stuff like that, right? And then it says here in yellow, it says, Sarah sees a younger self in the mirror. Why does it have to say that? Like, and then she has a flashback from her childhood. That, to me, that is either bad editing or that is the moniker of a writer that doesn't write very often and doesn't think that their audience can follow along with the story. So they need to put that in there. And that's a problem for me. Because that tells me that the story's probably not going to be very good, or it's going to be a little convoluted, and that they had to, or they just think that we're dumb. You know, so either way, I'm rather offended when I'm reading the thing. So, got to spell everything out for the readers sometimes, says Alex. I get that, Alex, but no, not for this. I'm a little dense sometimes, but I ain't that dense. Almost Dead. They might as well have described the book itself as Almost Dead, because it's not good. Sorry.
So DOA, Dead on Arrival.
Yeah, it's poop. I'm sorry, unfortunately. This one was kind of interesting. It's 1 of 5. It's interesting because they put 1 of 5 on the book. Normally that's a death knell for a series. Comic books don't usually like to put 1 of. They don't like to put that it's a mini series because most people like long series commitments. They don't want to say, oh, okay, so it's just 5 issues and it's done. Well, I'm not going to buy that. So it limits the sales on a book like this. So I thought it was surprising that they put 1 of 5, but also I was happy with that because they were brave enough to do that. They're like, okay, the story's that good that you're going to want to stay for 5, and it's going to be the whole story. And I appreciate that because it's like a mini series or a regular series on Netflix where they're like, hey, you know, it's of this many episodes, and that's what you're going to get. And so I like that. So it's basically like a heist gone terribly wrong. So nothing new here right now. The only thing that's kind of new is that they're holed up in a town where one of the caves, like the coal mines underneath, had ignited, and it's been staying burnt, like it's been burning since the 70s. So it's not a safe air quality place. So most of the townspeople have moved out. So that's why they're holed up here in this town, and that's why it's called Slow Burn. If you get that, it's a little double entendre. So Slow Burn, it's not bad. It's not my favorite thing. Am I going to keep reading it? Yeah, I'll give it a shot. I'll give it through probably issue 2. And if issue 2 gets a little better, then I'll keep going. But if it stays around the same as issue 1, then I'm going to drop it. So if you have extra money, grab Slow Burn. If you don't, let it go. And finally, last but not least, Alan Scott, the Green Lantern. He's back, and he's gay. Yes, that's right. That should be the tagline.
The Southpaw Green Lantern, they made him gay again
They
from
ma-
the New 52?
Yes. They decided that was the route to go with a gentleman that's had several children with a wife who now no longer exists, as far as I know, according to this story. It was World War I-ish, just after that, and he falls in love with a man, and it's all about them, flashing back to them, and how he encounters this villain that is coming at him in the present day, which is, I believe, the 40s, I want to say. So it might have been the 20s, and then he's in the 40s right now, so it's like a flashback into the past, further past, but we're still in the past with this. It's not bad. I didn't hate it, I'm going to be honest. I found it interesting. I like the fact that they're using the government to say, Alan, we know that you're gay. And if you don't work for us, we're going to tell everybody that you're gay. And he's like, shit. So he's being blackmailed basically because he's a homosexual, which I found interesting. So it does add a little bit of a layer to Alan Scott, because Alan Scott, let's be realistic, he's always been a little boring. He's like Jay or Barry. Before Wally West came along, you really didn't have that excitement, I felt anyway, in the Flash. And same thing with Green Lantern, Alan Scott and Hal Jordan, kind of very vanilla. But then Kyle Rayner came around, or Guy Gardner, and it kind of opened it up a little bit. Even a little bit with what's his name? The other Green Lantern. Come on, Kevin, help me out.
John Stewart?
Yeah, John Stewart. Yeah, even with John Stewart. Kevin, like, Green Lantern's your thing. Even with John Stewart. And that was Green Lantern Mosaic that they tried that. They did a run, and now he's back, too, in his own series. So this is pretty good. I give it like a 7 out of 10. So definitely pick it up if you can, because it is a good read. It's a good story, and there you go. That's me pulling out. Okay, so let's see. We've got a couple comments here. Let's see. Alex says, I had a moment like that in Headless Season 2. Alex, by the way, Alex Banquet is a writer. He writes for American Mythology, and he's written for Scout Comics, and one of his series is Headless. And he wrote Season 1 and Season 2 of Headless. He says, I had a moment like that in Headless Season 2. An editorial wanted a caption to explain something, and I refused to do it because it ruined the pacing. Thank you, sir. Exactly. Sometimes editorial can get in the way of themselves, for sure. Show Bunny says, Lord have mercy. John Vickery, thanks for joining, says Spider-Boy #1. He's excited. Hanzo says, that's why, so that's Felipe says, that's why I read manga now. Or manga. John says Green Lantern Alan Scott was a good read. Yeah, was pretty solid. And DJ's Free Sound FX Arcane is the best Netflix show. No contest. I'll fight anyone. DJ, you'll probably be happy, but not like super pleased with us. But we'll try to explain. It did kind of make the list, Chris. We do have, and since we're starting on our Netflix list, let's get started on this. By the way.
But
Since we do have a photo of Arcane, and this is something that Chris himself very particularly wanted to mention. Now, I think I started to watch episode 1, and something came up and I had to stop. And then I forgot about the show, to be honest, completely forgot about it. So I had no idea that it existed anymore. Basically because I was sharing Netflix with somebody, and then they locked me out. So I got shut out of Netflix, which is fine because I'd seen a lot of stuff, and there's still a lot of content out there that's just not on Netflix. So I watch a lot of things regardless of Netflix. But Chris, go ahead with Arcane and why you thought that it deserved to be mentioned.
Arcane, beautiful animation style, steampunk, which I really a big fan of steampunk and magic mixed together. It's based on a super popular game called League of Legends. If you don't know League of Legends, check it out. It's a big multiplayer game. And I just thought it was just like brilliant writing, brilliant animation, and it was just once you get into the game or once you get into the show, it just sucks you in, and you can't stop watching it. It was just such an original, even though it's not original, it just felt like breath of fresh air to TV shows.
Mm-hmm. I could
And as
understand
for animated shows, probably one of the better ones on Netflix. So
that. Nice. As far as like other series, is there anything you can compare it to?
No, 'cause it's such a distinct style. I mean, I could mention other steampunk shows. I could mention other animated shows that
Okay.
are based on video games, like Castlevania. Like Netflix does a good job of
Oh yeah, the
Uh,
Castlevania
uh,
series I thought was pretty cool. I thought that
yeah,
was
they do a good job of adapting
Yeah.
video games into cartoons.
yeah, I like that.
Yeah, if only they could just put that energy into a live action movie.
Hmm.
You would have great live action movies based off video games.
But-
But yeah,
Netflix doesn't like to put that
Castlevania-
much money into stuff
But
like
what-
that. Yeah.
the thing is that the animation that they're using for Castlevania, it's not cheap as well. Especially like the fighting choreography, the voice actors that they're using. Like some of the voice actors are in the movie The Hobbit. Like
Mhm.
Dracula he's the dude that like always fights with the king, the bald one with the axe. And then not only that, the guy that was in the like he's the dwarf king that was getting corrupted. He's actually Belmont, Trevor Belmont.
Mm.
So like they have good voice actors. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like when I saw the first episode of Castlevania, I was instantly hooked. It was just amazing, beautiful, and not only that, I'm a big vampire, kind of hunter guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Castlevania is kind of like the best of British actors doing voiceover type show.
Okay. Another quick honorable mention, just to move things along, because we got a long list here, guys. Love, Death, and Robots. Why did you deem this worthy of making the list, Chris?
It's a fun show, and I think it's really clever. The different animation styles that happen. Sometimes it's live action with some animation stuff in it.
It's like an
Sometimes
anthology,
it's
right?
animation. Sometimes it's 2D. Sometimes it's 3D. And it's interesting because every time anybody plays it, it's always played in a different order, which I thought was really interesting.
Mm.
Nobody gets the same order of the episodes.
Okay, well, we're going to get to that with another series, too, which is also very unique. Another one that I personally thought, and I'm not sure if anybody else here has seen this one, but I thought Mindhunter bared being mentioned, particularly because of, it's Fincher, right? Fincher, thank you. And he's known for certain aesthetics, and he's definitely known for producing good content. I mean, we wouldn't have some things like Fight Club, if it wasn't for him. We wouldn't have this. Sometimes the quality of television that we have, particularly, I thought this was a fantastic series. If you do yourselves a favor, and you don't have to watch both seasons of it. I think it was 2 seasons, if I recall. Maybe it only lasted 1, but I feel like it was 2 seasons. Do yourself a favor and watch the Manson one, the Charles Manson episode. It's really interesting to see the early on formation of the FBI and how they use critical thinking and analysis to look into the minds of serial killers, and how that forms, and how Manson plays a part in that. And Manson's story itself within this is fantastic. So if you get a chance, definitely check out Mindhunter. It was canceled on Netflix, and there was hope that they would pick it up with another platform, like HBO Max or something like that. It didn't happen, and Fincher moved on to other projects, which is fine. But Mindhunter is a very, very special show in that it's a slow burn, but it's spectacular storytelling, and it's told at just the perfect pace. It's just a really good show. Highly recommended if you get a chance. And it's not a big investment because it's only, I think, 2 seasons in all, and I think there's only like 6 episodes per season or something. So it's not a big investment at all for your time. So that's our honorable mentions. Now we're going to go on to number 20 on the list. Now, number 20, there's going to be a few times this happens. Number 20 is a shared number because we felt that both of these series, they were deemed worthy of being mentioned within the same time. We were like, all right, well, let's just split the number. So it's a Dutch series, if I'm correct. Yes, Chris? And we're talking about the series Dark. Yeah? Chris, maybe you're on mute.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Okay, and then...
Yes, it is. It's Dutch.
And then we have Sabrina, the Teenage Witch, which was a dark retelling of Sabrina. It's actually pretty stellar storytelling, and the lead actor that plays Sabrina is phenomenal. So if you get a chance, check out Sabrina and check out Dark. Now, Sabrina is kind of a no-brainer as far as like she's a teenage witch. There's the dark arts, her aunties, the devil that's involved in this kind of thing, and a witchcraft school. Basically, it all envelops into this kind of storytelling. What is it about Dark, Chris, that kind of drew you in and put it at number 20 for you?
First of all, I was wrong. It's German, not Dutch.
Okay, got it.
So sorry, Dutch people.
Sorry, German people.
So yeah.
No, they still owe us.
Oh God.
I don't like a lot of horror TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the few TV shows that was horror that kind of grabbed me from the beginning and kept me, even though it's in subtitles. I mean, they have subs too, but I don't ever like subs. Unless there are certain animes. And it was one of the few, TV shows that lasted multiple seasons that had scary storylines and could scare me that actually I enjoyed. So it's one of the older Netflix shows, and it's always been on my mind. It's always been one of my favorites on Netflix.
Okay. Yeah, Dark. I think I actually watched the first couple episodes. It was revolving around a box, too, or something, if I recall. There's something to do with a box of some sort, or a package or something. But it could be wrong. But, yeah, definitely, that's something that I need to get back to. I did watch Rain, the first season of Rain, which is either German or Dutch or something, or a Scandinavian. I'm not sure. But that one, like this one, they dubbed the voices too. So if you're like me and you don't want to wear your glasses when you're watching TV all the time, sometimes regardless of if their lips are moving at a different pace, you don't mind the dubbing so much. And so that is also available for stuff like that.
I mean, I will say Netflix does a decent job of subbing their shows.
Number 19, you were talking about Love, Death, and Robots having that distinction of you never know which episode you're going to get. The same thing happened for a drama series. I think was it a drama series? Shoot, maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong here. But it was another foreign film or a series called Money Heist. Which was a very interesting series. So, again, not to glaze over, but we've got to move. We've got a lot to go over. So this is one that I'm just going to recommend to you guys that if you haven't seen, take a look at it. It is, you can get it dubbed, or you can watch the subtitles. But it is a fun action show where you actually are surprised. You never know what you're going to get. There's surprises around every corner. So I don't want to get into it too much because I don't want you to be... I want you to be surprised, in other words. So if you get a chance to watch Money Heist, highly recommend that. That's a really good show. And that is number 19 on our list. Number 18 is a series that I have not seen, but apparently Chris and Kevin highly recommended it, so we had to get this on here. This one is called Into the Night. And what is so special about this show, guys?
Want to talk about it, Kevin, or do you want me to?
You do, sir.
All right, so I was introduced to the show just last week by an acquaintance of ours named Howard, and I watched it. It's Danish, I believe, and but it's in French. I think that's what they speak there, and it's a basic premise is that there's a solar flare, and these people are on an airplane, and they find out about the solar flare, and so they have to outrun the solar flare. They have to basically outrun the sun. They have to fly around the world to stay so it's nighttime, so they don't get in the sun and die, because the sun's killing everybody. And it is the most intense 8 hours of TV I think I've ever seen. It's super
No
intense.
shit. That's saying something.
And then they did 2 seasons, and then they actually came out with a Turkish spinoff that takes place in a submarine that kind of dovetails into the second season. So
Oh,
it's
interesting.
called the Yakazama 675 or something like that. Not as good, but it's a different take on it. And it was one of the questions asked is like, well, there's got to be survivors in this world besides people on an airplane. And they answered some questions. So
Okay. Nice. Very cool. That's an original idea.
yeah, super intense.
That's
If you guys haven't seen it, check it out.
what's that
There's a
series?
sub.
It was on I want to say TNT or something like that. It's the one that they had the movie on, and it was about the train that had to keep moving or it would freeze. Snowpiercer.
Snowpiercer?
Yeah.
The show's still on. We're just waiting for the last season to premiere.
Snowpiercer, and I watched the first season and almost all of the second season, and that's phenomenal as well. It's not on Netflix, but it's highly recommended. Comes highly recommended for me anyway. I think
It's one of Sean Bean's first parts where he doesn't die in it. Spoilers,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yet.
Oh my God, yo. poor Sean Bean.
Yeah. Now number
I thought
17.
it was his contract.
Yeah, you would think. Number 17, you're going to be surprised with how low this ranked, but that's only because the second season and then the third season. But we're talking about The Witcher. And the first season's great. First season's a lot of fun. First season's a firecracker of a show. Then it kind of goes downhill from there. So that's why it didn't make it as high up on the list for us as it may have for some of you that just love the mythology of the story or have read the books revolving around it. But The Witcher, yeah, I thought it got, I don't know about you, Chris, I thought it got really convoluted in the second season, and I don't think the storytelling was quite as good, or it didn't involve some of the central characters as much as it should have, and it just didn't work for me overall.
I agree, and I feel like when I started season 3, it was like I didn't even want to continue watching the show. It wasn't keeping me interested at all. It was just kind of there. And so I haven't even finished the third season yet because it just was not up to par of what. And then also knowing that they're going to be that they're changing the actor for the fourth season, I don't really care anymore. It's just like, and I think a lot of people had the same opinion with the show.
Well, the reason of that is because Henry Cavill is a really big gamer himself, and he knows a lot about The Witcher, and and he sees what's going on, and he's like disagreeing with with the producers and stuff,
Decisions.
and he's just like, well, I don't want to be a part of this because what I mean, like he respects like the gaming community that much.
And the source material.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I agree when I went in the third season, I didn't even finish it. I think I got to the second episode. I'm like, I'm done.
Damn.
I don't even want to like invest in it anymore because nothing against, the new guy that's coming in, but I don't see him doing a really great job as Gerald.
No, I don't want to say he's not a good actor, but I haven't seen him act well in anything that I've seen.
Like, he's not bad, but I'm not going to sit here and say that he deserves an Oscar in any of the movies he's done.
Right.
He's like the Jean-Claude Van Damme of our time.
Wasn't he
Or
in
this
an
time.
Expendables movie at one point?
Yeah, Expendables 2, where it's funny that I just mentioned Jean-Claude Van Damme is when he's the one that kills him.
And there's a weird thing with a dog and stuff in there or something. It's the stupidest story with him, and I hated it. It was so bad. Crimson Fox, thanks for joining, by the way. The Crimson Fox is also a DC superhero, if I recall, who uses pheromones to, distract people and make them attracted to her so then she can go in for the kill. So that's an interesting name choice there, Crimson Fox, for Nicole Irwin pops in and says, "Hey, Don, finally caught you live." Oh, hey, Nicole. Thanks for joining. And Show Bunny says, "Totally agrees, Sal. Henry Cavill is a treasure to the gaming community because of his dedication to the fans." Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. Now all he needs to do is buy PlayStation.
Why? He built a PC. He doesn't need a PlayStation.
Oh, really?
He built his own gaming PC.
That's
He's
not
part of
hard
the
to do,
quote-unquote-
by the way, Sal. Anybody could do
But
that.
he has the money to make it top quality, Donnie.
Yeah.
And now with that,
What's he
plays
bragging
Fortnite.
about it now?
No, he posted it on Instagram, and all the gaming nerds were like, "He's one of us, finally."
Yeah.
So he's part of the PC master race,
Yeah.
as they call it.
Yep.
Yep. Kevin's still wearing the mask, by the way, everybody. He's still wearing the alien
Kevin,
mask.
for God's sake, sir, take it off. Tired of looking at it.
Just Chris Farley him. For all that's holy, take off the mask. Dear
You
God.
think you know things you don't.
Right. By the way, I started rewatching Almost Heroes for Matthew Perry and Chris Farley's sake. But it just popped up, and I started watching it, and it's not as bad as I remember. The one that is as bad as I remember, that might actually be worse, is the John Candy one I'm also currently watching, which is Wagons East.
Like,
That
he's-
one's-
I don't.
Terrible. It's so bad. It's so bad. Nothing redeeming. Chris is talking, but no one can hear him.
I said, didn't both Chris Farley and John Candy both kind of die after shooting their Western movies?
Yes. They actually passed away during the filming. Both of them did.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Dude,
Yeah.
John Candy was amazing,
Yeah.
especially in the great outdoors.
The
Blew
best.
blew off that bear's
Big
furry
bear.
butthole.
Big Bear, chase me. Big Bear.
Him and Trains, Planes, and Automobiles
Oh, God.
messed
Yeah.
up.
Thanksgiving
That's
was
what
so
kind
much
of I
heart.
based my acting career on.
I keep trying to get Jen Candy to pop on the show at some point, at least in the chat, if not do an interview with us. Just because I know she was young when her dad passed, when John passed, but she still has a lot of memories. And she actually did a series in Hollywood called Couch Candy. And it was where she would sit down with almost every single actor. I went to see Eugene Levy. I went to see Jim Belushi. Martin Short was there at one point. Like, there was a lot of top tier actors that came in, and she sat down with for about an hour, and they just talked about her dad. And I would love to kind of pick her brain a little bit more about him and his work, and also get up to date with her and what she's doing and how she's been since she has had a child and suffered through the pandemic and things like that. I'd be interested to know. So, Jen, if you watch this at some point, please reach out so we can get you on. We would love that. But that was number 17 with The Witcher. We're going to pull up number 16. Okay, so this is one where it's a three-way. Don't get too excited, Sal. It's an animation three-way. Still don't get too excited, Sal. It's
Damn.
nothing sexual. F is for family. Okay, still don't get too excited, Sal. That's the name of a television series on Netflix.
I know. I watched that show. It's
Okay.
actually very hilarious.
Okay, so F is for family is one of the shows that we're going to be discussing. That is a Bill Burr brainchild that he created. It's really good. Really, really, really good.
About his life as a kid, living with his father and mother.
Mm-hmm.
His father's ridiculous.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Especially that one episode where like he hides under the bed and then he sees, you know what he sees.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
He's the dad's jewel
yep.
pounding away.
God, Disenchantment is the second one. This is from the makers of The Simpsons. This is their sword and sorcery kind of epic. Totally different from The Simpsons, by the way. You would think that it would have a lot of that same Simpsons humor. It doesn't. It's a different type of charm. It's a different type of story. So you have to get that out of your head. This has nothing to do with The Simpsons. This is just by the makers of The Simpsons.
Also, very dirty.
Yeah, it is. It is very dirty. It's Disenchantment, or Disenchantment, and it is on Netflix. I think we're on season 4 now, Chris.
Yeah, it's just series just had its finale.
The series finale. Oh, I'm sorry to hear
Yeah.
that. And then the one that kind of started it all, BoJack Horseman. That was one of Netflix's first animated, if not their first animated original series. and it's literally about a horseman. Go figure.
That's your spirit animal right there, Donnie.
And he's navigating Hollywood. I think Kevin's probably turned on right now because he's like, I have an alien mask and you have a horse head. Maybe we can go out sometime. It's possible.
I wish I could open a portal and snatch that mask off.
Yeah. I know, right? Wouldn't that be epic? If you could. That would be great.
Yep.
Or like if you guys were in the same room and we didn't know it and you just reached over and grabbed it to freak all of us out.
I do the Doctor Strange.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got to have the bands across your fingers or something like that. So anybody want to say anything else about these series?
My favorite of the three is Disenchantment. I just think it's hilarious, and I love the cast, and I love sword and sorcery stuff. So how can I not love it? And I love The Simpsons, and I love naughty humor, and it's just so fun and so like a lot of the satire in it's very poignant, and I just love it. BoJack Horseman's good too. It has a really good cast. Will Arnett, of course, as BoJack. Aaron Paul, Amy Sedaris, Allison Brie. There's Paul F. Tompkins. A ton of people in it. It's a very good cast. It wasn't my favorite show, but I do remember enjoying it.
Yeah, you could sit down and just turn it on, and it was kind of something that you could also just put on in the background, and it felt warm and comforting somehow. But still good nonetheless. So BoJack Horseman, Disenchantment, and F is for Family. Those were number 16 on our list. Now we have a twofer on number 15. And we're going to get through these pretty quickly here now as we're moving along. We have the Kevin Spacey starring what is her name? Jesus. Buttercup.
Robin Penn?
Yeah, thank you.
Robin Wright.
Robin Wright, yeah. Robin Wright and Kevin Spacey. And it kind of took a turn because Kevin Spacey at one point got accused of some sexual misconduct and was basically killed off his own show. So House of Cards kind of had to change the story. Kevin Spacey, regardless, love him or hate him, he's a phenomenal actor. He might be a piece of shit, but he's a phenomenal actor. And that's House of Cards. And that's actually one of the first original Netflix series that actually gave them some clout. And another one that showed that they could do, kind of a dramedy was the all-star cast of Orange is the New Black. That was a big cast of people in this one. And it was all about a female institution. Like they were all in jail, and it was all about the stories of everybody in jail. I think the biggest surprise was Captain Janeway.
Kate Mulgrew.
Kate Mulgrew, yeah, her being in this as the Russian cook lady, like mobster lady, was quite surprising, and her backstory actually is very interesting. And every character that you see listed here, every character that you see that is shown there, we get their backstory throughout the seasons. We get a history of how they got in prison, what happened, what got them there, and I think that's what's great about that show. It's so much fun. Loki, the last one, is on. Says hi, Kev.
Hey.
Yeah, Orange is the New Black had a really, really moving moment near the end of the show, and I still remember it to this day. The last season I wasn't a huge fan of, but overall this series is good, and it deserved the long run that it got. House of Cards, I love.
Jason Biggs. Get Jason Biggs.
Yeah. House of Cards, I love for me personally because it was based on Richard III and Macbeth.
No.
They kind of mixed it together. I think the first two seasons of the show are fantastic. It has some really shocking moments in the first season.
The first episode of season 2 alone. Holy shit! What happens in the first episode of season 2 is incredible. Like, it blows your mind. You would think that it would never go there, and it does. It immediately sets the tone for season 2.
Then it was pretty good up until season 4, and then after that, it was good.
I had my roommate had a friend that went to college with him, and she was looking for a place to stay, so we let her stay with us for like It was supposed to be like a month while she got a new job and stuff. It ended up being like 3-4 months. So she was crashing on our couch, and she just binged House of Cards. So every time I'd come home, she was sitting there just watching House of Cards. It was like the whole thing. She just sat through the whole thing. And yeah, so I remember that show quite fondly because it was always on in my apartment anyway. So House of Cards, Orange is the New Black. That is at 15. Now, number 14 is we're talking about a brand new show and a show that was on for a while and actually put somebody like on the path to Hollywood greatness. And we're talking about the new show being the let's see, there we no wait where are you? There we go. The Night Agent. Which is a relatively new show, came out earlier this year. Actually, it's a political thriller, and it's actually really good. It's a really good show, dealing with a guy that's, I think he's what, FBI or CIA, I can't remember which, or Secret Service. It's one of those.
Service.
I think it was the Secret Service, yeah. And he had to answer a phone in case there was an emergency or something. He would sit in an office, and they just had a phone, and that's what you would do. And it never rang, because this emergency never came up. And lo and behold, he's in the room, and it freaking rings. And then it just starts down this path of this international intrigue and this plot for terrorism and stuff. It gets crazy, and it's really good. Really, really good. So that's The Night Agent. And the other one, any of you guys want to talk about real quickly, is Pedro Pascal kind of took over in season 2 for this. After
He was in season 1.
Was it season 1? I think he took over more in season 2. After
it was him and the other guy, him and the U.S. agent in the first season. Or the
right,
US agent.
they worked together in season 1, but in season 2 it was primarily him. So he kind of really took over in season 2 to become the lead in Narcos, and that's what we're talking about, the series on Netflix called Narcos. So if you like cocaine, this is a good show. Yeah. Right, Sal?
Kind of where we got to start. I think they did a wonderful job of casting Pablo Escobar. I thought he's fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's fantastic. He's a great actor. A lot of range and a lot of that rage that you would imagine somebody like him would have to have. A kind of a manic rage, but also very smart, very meticulous, very... he thought things out, in other words. So he wasn't an idiot. You can't be an idiot to run an empire.
Yeah, he really thinks through. He doesn't really make mistakes.
Right.
I mean, he makes a couple mistakes, but he really thinks through his actions. And
Mm-hmm.
he's always usually a step ahead of narcs.
Yeah. So that was Night Agent and Narcos. Number 13. This was a surprise one for a lot of us. We didn't know what to expect, but with Tim Burton on board, it actually was very good. And we are talking about the newer series that came out. I believe it was just late last year. The series of Wednesday. What did we like most about this series? I thought it was... Okay, so Fred Armisen... Look, I'm not a big fan of Fred Armisen in general. But his portrayal as Uncle Fester... Boom! Knocked it out of the park. Knocked it out of the park. And the guy that's playing... the thing, the hand, it does such a phenomenal job. He's in it. He's like the second lead, basically, in my eyes. But
Jenny Ortega.
Yeah, Jenny Ortega's fantastic. She's a fantastic Wednesday. And then we've got Gomez and we've got Pugsley and then Morticia. Morticia and Gomez, interesting casting on those, I feel. Particularly with Gomez having what's his name?
Horatio Sands?
No, it's not Horatio Sands.
Isn't it Horatio Sands? No.
Louis Guzman?
Yes, Luis Guzman. Yeah.
Oh, Louis Guzman. That's right. Yeah,
having him play Gomez Adams, I thought was an interesting choice.
Makes me not want to watch it now.
But he does make you laugh sometimes in this, and it's interesting to watch. I would say
he's not in it much.
He's probably the weakest link in my opinion, but yeah, he's not in it much at all.
Because Raul Julia, dude, He's
Well,
Gomez.
yeah, I mean, I get that, but if for a TV series and he's not the starring character or the lead by any means,
Hey.
he does all right.
We got somebody from the Addams Family in the show.
What do you mean?
Christina Ricci.
Oh, yeah, you're right. From the
the
original.
original
She was the
Wednesday.
original Wednesday, and she plays one of the teachers in this. I think the botanist or something in this.
Yeah, the Den Mother. Yeah.
in this series. And she does a fantastic job, by the way. Yeah, and if I recall, we all three of us, at least three of us here, know somebody that lived very close to Christina Ricci, like neighbors.
Yes, right. Next door neighbors. That's very true.
Yeah. So at any point in time, we could go over and ask for a cup of sugar or something. She did ask me to leave. She's like, you've asked for 5 cups of sugar now. You need to go to the store and get your own. And I was like, okay, Christina Ricci, I'm sorry. But, whatever.
You got to 5.
Yeah,
5 cups of sugar.
I got up to 5 cups of sugar, Sal. Hell yeah. Show Bunny says the show was amazing. Agree with the casting. Gomez was not it for me. Mom says I really like that show. Yeah, it's really fun. It's going to get a season 2 for sure. I mean, it was a huge hit.
They were filming season 2, but then one of the new actors for it had to quit. So they're debating whether or not they want to just try to rewrite and change some of the parts that hasn't been shot because her character's 75% shot, or go back and reshoot all of her stuff.
Jesus.
So it's going to be delayed a little bit.
Good Lord. That kind of stuff's always complicated and annoying, especially if you're a showrunner or producer, director, any of that. It's top-notch annoying. Trust me. Chris and I have gone down that road multiple times where we've had to recast or look at redoing parts or reshooting things and stuff, and it is a pain in the ass.
Or actors just not showing up on the day it's time to shoot because you didn't pay them gas money.
Right.
Wow.
Oh, I remember that.
Wow.
Yeah. So lots of instances like that, which is very interesting.
You
But,
just had, I got you something. It's not money, but I got you something.
yeah, I got you
Pack
something.
of hot dogs.
Yeah.
He was already getting paid, so it was not like I paid you. Like,
He couldn't
you're
see
just
the
coming
future.
here for nothing.
That's his fault.
Yeah.
he was one of the 2 people in the show who got paid.
Yeah. I didn't get paid.
Hi, Sammy.
Oh, Sammy's on. Hello, Sammy, I guess. So Ozark. I've got Ozark up on the screen. Ozark is number 12, guys. What about Ozark? What made Ozark get number 12 on this list? I saw the first episode. I watched it with my dad. My mom doesn't like that violence that comes with this kind of stuff. So me and Dad only got through episode 1, and then we kind of trailed off and forgot about it. And it's not anything I ever went back to. But I do remember it because it was solid. There was solid acting, solid character development just within that first episode that I watched. So I will get back to it eventually. But Chris, you've seen it. So what did you think?
The thing I love most about the show is the acting. I think the girl who plays Ruth, Julia Garner, is the most amazing actor on that show. And there's 2 actresses who I felt were very underrated by the Emmys for a long time. It was Julia Garner and the girl from Better Call Saul. Can't remember her name. Those 2, I feel like both of those. I think she ended up winning during the last season, but Julia Garner carries that show with her acting. She is phenomenal in it. She does a masterclass in acting. And if you look and see who she is as a person, like a real person, she's so different than her character. And it's just, you get she's one of those characters that you really enjoy seeing growth in. And you're cheering on at the end of the show, and it's so it was worth it just for her. But then the show was it was a interesting premise, and it was good writing and good directing, and like I said, good acting all around. I don't think there was any bad acting in the show, but some overall amazing acting. So
Nice. Yeah.
For me, it was the cinematography. I loved how it was shot.
That too, yeah.
I loved the way the weather is, and it just sets the tone to they're trying to conduct business, and then it just suddenly gets out of hand. Oh, that's what I like.
Yeah, the cinematography was fantastic. Just in that first episode I watched, I was really impressed with how it looked and how the design of it in each scene, very smart, very well done. I'll give them that for sure.
I mean, enough people watched it that it was one of the few Netflix shows that actually got an ending.
That's true. Yeah, because Netflix is
Not a
notorious.
great ending, but
Netflix is notorious for only allowing 3 seasons. That they'll cut you after 3. There's not many shows that have gotten more than 3 seasons off Netflix. A couple of them, Ozark's one of them, and some of the animated for sure. But as we keep going on this list, you're going to notice some of them get dropped pretty quick.
Orange is the New Black, I think, had 5 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
6.
6, I think. Yeah, it was like that was one of their darlings, their first. And same thing with House of Cards. It was like they were just feeling it out at that point. So those are a little different because they were very early on in the Netflix algorithm, so to speak. Netflix
before
machine.
Netflix got cancel heavy.
Right. So Ozark was number 12. We're going to pull up number 11. Now, I don't know if any of the rest of you guys have seen this, but I have. I thought it was phenomenal. It's got, I want to say it's Anna Taylor-Joy. Is that her name? Am I wrong on that? I think I'm right.
Is it?
Yeah, it's Anna Taylor-Joy. And it's the Queen's Gambit. Now, how can you make a series exciting about chess? How can you make that story exciting? Well, you tell it from the perspective of a woman in a man's world, aka the world of chess, and how she's able to circumnavigate that world and destroy the competition, and what she has to do, and how she has to fight back some of her demons, so to speak, in order to make it through these competitions. It's a masterclass in acting. She does a phenomenal job. The story is pitch perfect. Nominations galore with this series, and definitely worthy of those nominations. It was a mini series on Netflix. It came out, I think, 2 years ago, I want to say, and it is The Queen's Gambit, and it is phenomenal. So if you guys get a chance to check this one out, I think it's only 7 or 8 episodes. I think it's 8 episode commitment that you would have to have on this one, so not a lot of time, and it's really freaking good. Yes, it's about chess, but it's also very much a character study. It's about her and her life and how crazy it can get, and some of the other characters that come along for the ride. So it's definitely worth your time. So Queen's Gambit, check it out. Let's see, number 10. Oh, here's a good one.
Oof.
Number 10.
Yeah.
Now, I know at least 3 of us were like, we have to put this on there. It's the only reality TV show that we put on the list, and for good reason. And the picture that Kevin gave me is not the correct photo, so I'm not going to go with a photo on this one. I'm just going to type in what it is. So number 10 is, and sorry about that, Kevin, I don't know if I made myself clear on that, but number 10 is The Circle. Now, The Circle is reality at its finest, and let's describe it for people that don't know what The Circle is. You have, what is it about? 10 people.
Catfish.
10 people, yeah. It's 10 people, and they're all in individual rooms in this building, and they're all soundproofed rooms, and none of them know who the other people are. So they get on the social media network called The Circle. And they can go in as themselves, like, I could go in as Donald. Kevin would probably go in as the alien. Chris would go in as Samantha, and Big Sal would go in as Little Sal. So we'd have all these different identities and different names and things that we could go with or portray. And, Kevin could be like, no, I really am an alien. Like, I'm from the planet Mortok, and I'm, really, I know 5,000 different languages. Do you want to hear one? Like that. He would like, and he would type all that shit in, right? Because that's how you communicate on there. You communicate in this social media network called The Circle, and you type in, and you can go to private chats with other people and stuff. So it's all about making connections and making people believe that you are their best friend, you are their number one, and you're going to take them to the end with you. And then they're going to vote for you, and you're going to vote for them. And the 2 people that are least voted in The Circle, at the end of each episode, basically they do where everybody has to vote, and they're going to vote one of these people out of the circle. And one of you get voted out. And that's it. And then you're gone. And sometimes you can come back, But most of the time, not so much. There you go. Kevin's got it up behind him. He has there we go. Behind him, he has a photo of the circle there that you can see.
I think the show is a fascinating look at acting and improv because and character development, because it's like if you really look at it, they have to develop their characters, because there is a large amount of people who are not playing themselves, or there's characters who are playing themselves but a different version of themselves. So they're coming up with character development. Some people use pictures from other people, so they have to create a whole person out of those. And so creating that character and knowing as many facts as you can about it, but also being able to improv as that character in all situations. I think it's fascinating as an actor, just to watch as a study when it comes to acting. I mean, they're not really acting, but they are, because it's all via social media technically. Like, but it's just, but they're and the first season had very, very likable people. Everybody in the first season you really liked, and you kind of like were bummed that anybody got voted out. Other seasons had some likable people too, but it's just like good job casting the show, and it's fascinating to watch. And I think Donald, you mentioned something about like how it was a psychological study.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
just a very interesting psychological.
Absolutely, yeah.
Study.
It's like you could psychologically break people down. People sometimes leave this thinking that they're like either the greatest person known to man, or they're like a complete piece of shit, just because people don't like them and they think that they're fake. Like, oh, you're not really a grandma from Toluca Lake. Well, yes, I am. I'm actually a grandma from Toluca Lake, but everybody thinks I'm lying just because they don't like what I'm saying. I'm putting myself out there and nobody believes me. And like, that could break you down, that could affect you.
I got blueberry muffins in my purse.
Right? Yeah, I came in here.
The best is there's a character who, or not characters, there's a person who makes it to the finale. He's one of the top people in the show. And they go through the whole thing saying, I'm going to be myself this whole time. They try as hard as they can to be themselves, and they make it the top 5 of the show. And then they come back later in another season to catfish, and they're terrible at it. So that's a really good example of that.
Let's see really quickly. Philippe says Love on the Spectrum. Yes, that's a great series, by the way. Definitely check that one out. Mom says the circle is round. Yes, Mom, good for you. And the triangle is a pyramid shape.
Don't talk to your mom that way.
There's that.
Apologize.
Janet says, I so love Ozark. The moments on the show when you're scared for what will happen to Marty Byrde and his family. Great suspense, and I'm such a fan of Jason Bateman. And if you guys haven't seen Game Night, by the way, with Jason Bateman, do yourself a favor and watch it. It's hilarious. Mm-hmm. It's suspenseful. It's such a good comedy, action, suspense film. Came out a couple of years ago. There was like 4 great comedies that came out that year. That was the year of comedy as far as I was concerned. And then the following year was the year of mystery. So we've had some good years with like different variations on storytelling, which I appreciate in the last several years. So definitely.
What do you think this year's been so far?
Poop. The year.
Yeah, been year of poop. Yeah.
The year of poop. Yeah, I'm not like there's not a lot I've loved this year so far. I'm gonna be honest with you. There's not a lot I've loved. Maybe it should be the year of documentaries because I haven't seen any. So that I don't know. Maybe I'll find some and they'll be like, "Oh, this came out. This is great." There was some all right ones, but nothing like that sticks out. Like, wow, this was the best.
Mario.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I would say this could be the year of the Blue Beetle. This could be the year of the Beetle. We could call it that. We could call it that. Yeah.
Relax.
Yeah. No, Blue Beetle's great. If you guys haven't seen it,
good movie.
Watch it.
It's good. It's good. Yeah.
It's really good.
Surprisingly.
It's really good. It's better than your mother. Better than your mother.
Remember, I texted as soon as I finished. I was like, "Did you see this yet?" Because I knew that Donald would be so proud of that movie.
Yeah. So I had to immediately go watch it. I went to see it actually with Sal and Kevin. I don't think you came. Did you come? You came. No, you didn't come.
No, I didn't.
No, it was a different black dude.
That's right. It
that
was
didn't mean
black
anything.
I know
black
somebody
guy.
came later, but
That's right. Oh my God, Chris, pervert.
No,
So
it wasn't talking about me.
number 9 on the list is another dually. It is we have 2. Now I don't know if any of you have seen this one besides myself. Midnight Mass. Have any of you seen this one?
No.
Okay, so Midnight Mass came out. It was a Netflix miniseries. It's by the same guy that did the Haunting of Hill House and the Fall of the House of Usher and a couple others. But this one I felt was the strongest one. And this one came out, and we're also going to pair this one with You, the murder, homicidal, crazy, sociopathic killer, Joe, I want to say Goldberg, or Joe Goldberg. It's Joe Goldberg. So a little bit about You really quickly, and I'm going to just read it from here because it just makes more sense. The first season follows the story of Joe Goldberg, a bookstore manager in New York, who upon meeting Guinevere, an aspiring writer, becomes infatuated with her. He feeds his toxic obsession using social media and other technology to track her presence and watch her in her house and remove obstacles to their romance, including her friends and ex-boyfriends. And by remove, I mean murder. Like straight up murder them to get them out of the way or get them accused of murder. Whatever he has to do. He's psychotic. He's sociopathic. It's a fantastic time. So the first 3 seasons of this are fantastic. I'm struggling a little with the 4th to find where they're at in this, but the first 3 seasons are great. Probably the reason why Netflix is still producing them is because the first season was a Lifetime original television series that Netflix bought the rights to because they saw potential. Very smart on their part, because this is by no means a Lifetime show, or should it ever have been, technically. It just didn't fit. But it fits on Netflix, and it fits very well. So it's a fantastic series. If you get a chance to watch that, I would definitely watch that. The other one, Midnight Mass, on this one says that a young man returns to his isolated hometown on Crockett Island, hoping to rebuild his life after serving 4 years in prison for killing someone in a drunk driving incident. Kind of a dark story already. He arrives at the same time as a mysterious, charismatic young priest who begins to revitalize the town's flagging faith and basically the town itself. However, the community's divisions are soon exasperated by the priest's deeds, while mysterious events befall the small town, such as older people feeling more younger and vivacious, and other people having dark thoughts and visions and things. It gets creepy. It gets dark. It is fan-freaking-tastic. God, I don't want to say any more because I don't want to spoil it for you, but it is so good. I can't recommend it enough. Midnight Mass, if you get a chance. These are actually a great pairing if you want to watch a 2 for like 1 episode of one episode of the other. I could see that happening because they're both so good. So definitely, if you get a chance, check out Midnight Mass and You. And that leads us with number 8 on the list. 8. Here's a show that I really don't know a lot about. Chris was so over the moon for it that we had to mention it, definitely, and had to mention it pretty high for him. We're talking The Last Kingdom. And that one is going to... Oh, geez, okay, here we go. Calm down, Chris. And that one's going to be pairing with another series that not many people probably know about. It's called A Letter for the King. And there we go. So, okay, go ahead, Chris, on your Last Kingdom.
All right, Last Kingdom is based on a book series. It's historical fiction. It's about the Saxons and the Danes, their war, so early England, old England, and it's a fantastic show. It's, in my opinion, like one of the best sword wielding type shows on TV. I think it's way better than Game of Thrones. It had 5 seasons and a TV and a movie, made for TV movie, made for Netflix movie. I think it started off on the BBC for the first season, and then Netflix grabbed it and started making it after that because it was such a good show. When some people were watching, because it was one of those BBC shows that Netflix picked up to show, but then they got so much, Netflix was like, well, we'll take that from you and we'll make it ourselves. It's just a badass show, and it was there's a show on History Channel called Vikings, and it kind of Vikings tried to take what they made and make it. I like Vikings Show Bunny, but not as much as I like this show. I think that the protagonist in this is amazing. Basically, this premise is that the Vikings invade England, and they invade his village, and this boy's parents get killed, and so the Vikings adopt and raise him, or this boy, and this other girl from the village as Vikings. And then the boy decides, to side with England because he wants his kingdom back, because his father was a duke or something, and so he was next in line for to rule this kingdom, this castle. So he decides to side with the English, and then the girl decides to side with Vikings, and there's this whole thing, and it's it's so good.
Show Bunny says Last Kingdom was definitely great, but not better than Vikings.
I think it has some of the best medieval fight scenes in TV ever created.
Oof, I don't know, man. You're gonna hard press to find me like anything better than Merlin. Merlin's fantastic.
But then that wasn't known for its fighting.
No, but it was known for its humor and its fun.
That's a totally different type of show.
But there was a lot of fight scenes.
But the scene I can compare it to most Game of Thrones, which I think this is 100 times better than that.
Wow, that's saying something, Christopher.
Because I'm a big fan of the first 6 seasons of Game of Thrones.
Okay, so I have something different here to talk about. Letter for the King. This is basically about a young aspiring knight, the boy you see on the left here in the photo, and his perilous journey to deliver a letter to a king in a faraway nation. So he gets this letter. He's told he must deliver it, and only he can do it, or that probably already went to like 7 other people, and they were all like, "No, I'm having dinner." So they went down the line and eventually got to him. Was like, "You must deliver. You're the only one that can." And he was like, "Oh, you're right." So he goes upon himself to go and deliver this letter, and it's filled with sword and sorcery. It's full of action, suspense, adventure. I would say it's more, since he is a younger kid, he's in his teens, it's more of a teenage adventure. So it is a little, has some humor mixed in there, and it does have a lot of sword and sorcery, a lot of action in it as well. It's only 6 episodes, the problem with this one. That's why we couldn't, that's why I paired it with this, with the Last Kingdom, is because I didn't want to put it clear at the end, but only 6 episodes. It was canceled after that. Which is very unfortunate because it is a phenomenal show. So if you get a chance to watch Letter for the King, highly recommend it. It's only 6 episodes.
Is that the boy from His Dark Materials?
I believe it might be, yeah. Yeah, because he looks extremely familiar to me too. So I think you're right. I think that is him. Nicole says, I really like The Last Kingdom. And then Show Bunny says, ooh, love Merlin too, but not in the same category. No, it's definitely not in the same category, but I would put this with Merlin. I would say this is a good pairing with Merlin. So if you do love Merlin, watch A Letter for the King. It is on Netflix, and it is a 6-episode commitment, so not too long, about 6 hours, and you're in and out. And it doesn't end quite the way you would want it to, but it is definitely worth your time. I can promise you that. Number 7, Kevin's kind of beat us to the punch on this one. Number 7 with a bullet is the series Glow, Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, which actually was kind of a shocker. Canceled too soon for sure. Only 3 seasons, if I recall. Correct, Chris?
Yep.
So that one, I think, deserved a little more. It actually reminded me, which is what I loved, it reminded me of the show, which I had completely forgotten about. I completely forgot that Glow actually existed, that it was a show that came on television. I forgot that. And then when this show came up, I was like, holy shit. And it just started to flood back the memories. And then they did a documentary about Glow and stuff. So it was actually pretty exciting to relive these moments and to watch some of these characters. It was pretty fun. And if you like wrestling, it's a bonus because there is a lot of wrestling that takes place in this. And a lot of great acting, too.
Yeah, I hate what's his name, the man or the director. I normally hate him, but he was good in this show.
The director?
Comedian.
Oh, what is his name? It starts with an M, right?
Mark,
yeah, Mark Manson or Mark something. Yeah. I can't remember his name. I'm terrible with names, as you can
Wow,
tell.
we should probably research these shows before we talk about them, huh?
Well, no, it's just the names that I'm
Mark
horrible
Maron.
at.
Mark
Maron. There we go. I mean, we know the essence of the show and boil it down, but names, you can't expect me to remember everybody's name. That's not going to happen. I mean, I barely remember my own half the time. What'd you guys think, Kevin, Sal? Did you guys like this one?
Haven't seen it.
Yeah, a couple episodes I saw, I like it. It's a lot of fun. It definitely takes you back to the good old days of your childhood, the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah. It definitely does. It takes you back, and it was like a simpler time, so to speak. For us anyway, because we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
But love
Not the
Glow.
best acting in it, but it was serviceable.
Yeah, it was fun. Number 6 on the list is an animated show. This is the highest ranking animated show that we have on the list, and with good reason. If you liked Avatar: The Last Airbender or The Legend of Korra, you will love The Dragon Prince. The Dragon Prince is produced by the same people. A lot of the same voice actors, actually, are in The Dragon Prince. And the essence of this story is a prince who would be king that can communicate with dragons. And communicate he does. And it's all about him retaking his kingdom and uniting the kingdoms against a evil sorcerer, of course, who can use his enigmatic charm to woo a whole kingdom and turn them against this young prince. So he has to really fight, and fight he does. And Chris, Kevin, anybody have any other comments they want to make on this one? Because it's really good. It's really, really good.
I love the show. I think it's based on a book. I'm not sure 100%. But it's definitely the same charm as Avatar, which I absolutely love. I think it's one of my favorite cartoons ever made.
Mm-hmm.
And very similar like tone to it. A lot of same like style of animation and the style of writing and characterization. But of course, then you got sorcery and knights and all that stuff. And I think there's the princess aunt is deaf, but she's a badass knight, which is really cool, and a lesbian at that.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. And elves and all this stuff and magic and they
Elves
changed the
and lesbians. It's fantastic.
Yeah, they changed the title. They put a subtitle in for season 3, and I thought, oh crap, the show's going downhill. The show's even better than ever. They just didn't put a subtitle in because they did Time Jump. So, it's really good if you like sword and sorcery. If you like I said, if you liked Avatar, the guy who played Sokka in Avatar is one of the leads in the show. So, I think the lead of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, it's really, really good, and actually, in my opinion, the best animated show on Netflix.
Yeah, I could agree there. I think it is the spot on the best. And if you want to talk about the best of a particular type of genre, we're going to go with number 5 on this list, and we're talking Daredevil. It's going to be back. It's going to be on Disney Plus, of course, because Disney purchased Fox, which owned the rights to this.
After they spend a bunch of time redoing the whole show.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. So we're going to see how this goes, by the way. But Daredevil on Netflix, solid 3 seasons. I think the reason why Daredevil works so well is because we have such a perfect villain in Vincent D'Onofrio's portrayal of the Kingpin.
That's right.
And you can see that in the Echo trailer. It's like the trailer's really good because of Kingpin.
Right. Yep. Yeah, I think Vincent D'Onofrio has dialed into the essence of Kingpin. What makes him so great is that smoldering, intense violence that he has just under the surface, and it just takes any little thing to make him snap, and you never know what that's going to be, because he's lived such a tumultuous life that he has all these triggers in him. So there's a propensity for violence within the Kingpin, which I found to be quite engaging, quite exciting, to be honest. And he that intensity is there. You see it in him. Charlie Cox is serviceable. He's a great Matt Murdock. He's an okay Daredevil. You know what I mean? Like, he's a great Matt Murdock, in my opinion. They do bring in the religious aspect, but they don't hammer it over your head like they do sometimes in the comics, which I enjoy, because I don't want Daredevil to be. Sure, the religious aspect has to be there because that's part of who he is. It's his essence, in a way. But I feel he's a lot more. And the fact that they put in some of the lawyering, and they put in Foggy Nelson and stuff, and it was Karen Page, they put in those characters to kind of fill out the dynamics of the character and his law firm even, I think are important aspects of the series, and one that they've covered quite well. So Daredevil just hits it on every point. Daredevil, to me, has always been a very boring character. I've never really enjoyed, when I was a kid anyway. As I got older, I kind of created an appreciation, particularly with Mark Waid's run, because Mark Waid, anything he does is great. But Daredevil, to me, was never something that I kind of gravitated to as a child or even as a young adult. It wasn't until I got older that I got into it a little more. But the series here is phenomenal. It's very good.
It makes a hell of a grounded superhero show compared to fantastical world that Marvel has now.
Yes, yeah. So we're going to see that dichotomy occur within the Disney Plus series, but I think they've got a handle on it, particularly with Moon Knight, because they did balance the groundedness of the character with the fantasticness of Khonshu and the Egyptian gods and things like that. So I think that was pretty well balanced, and they did a good job of explaining his mental illness, which I think is important in a comic book series, if you have somebody that's suffering from mental illness, to display that and to explain that for people and don't dumb it down. And they did. They didn't dumb it down, which I appreciated. So Daredevil hits with number 5. Number 4 is a special little show that came out of freaking nowhere and just went nuts. It became the most watched show of all time on Netflix at one point. Don't know if that's still the case.
Now it's actually Suits.
Is it? Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Because that was a USA original, if I recall. Interestingly
Yeah, it's
enough.
a great show, though. It really is. I really love that show. For the first, 5 seasons.
So this is number 4. We're talking Squid Games, guys. Number 4 on this is Squid Games. What's so special about Squid Games? Anybody want to explain it?
Well, there's actually a movie in Japan, and they're kind of going through this legal thing where they kind of stole some elements from the movie. But what I really like about this is that you see all the different types of people that got selected.
What's the general premise of the story, though? For people that haven't seen it.
It's like a battle royale.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah,
it's like a battle royale, but you have to do what's that show where you have to run through an obstacle?
Double Dare. It's Double Dare, but if you lose, you die.
Kind of, yeah. You're not wrong.
Or Guts.
Or Wipeout, or any of those types of shows, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking about, Wipeout, where it's, but if you mess up, it's not oh, get back up and do the right. No, you're dead.
Yeah, if you wipe out, you're dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally understand that. So what makes this so good is the character development. It's a development of the main character, right? The gentleman that gets in there that's there for his family, basically. He's there for his daughter, so he can win back her love, so he can have money to survive, so he can pay off his debts because he was a gambler. He had a gambling addiction, and his daughter still believed in him. And that was kind of the great thing of the story, was that his daughter still believed in him and still believed that there was good in him and that he could do good things. And I think that's what drove him to it. And
that's the tragic thing of that story, is that everybody there is there because they need the money really bad.
Yeah. So they're all willing to die in order to make that money, because a lot of them, if they don't get the money, they're dead anyway. A lot of them do it for health reasons, others for gambling, or for, owing money, or just overall debt and bad choices that they've made in life, things like that. Janet says, every actor is so expressive in the face. I enjoyed hearing them speak Korean with subtitles more than the English dub.
Agree.
So there we go. And I definitely went with the dubbed version because, again, oh, by the way, I broke my glasses last night. I may have sat on them. So, so reading subtitles for me right now is not a good thing. So, I'm just...
Well, you can't.
Yeah, I can't. They'd be crooked on my face, and and one of the lenses is popped out. It's just terrible. It's terrible. There was glass all over.
Just get tape.
I got glass in my ass, Sal.
Then
Like glass in my
tape.
ass, Sal.
Just tape the sides so you can see the middle.
Right, yeah.
And
So I tape the middle up and then just nerd out, and then just why don't I just go into gym class then and just be the guy that can't throw the ball and completely nerd out. Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, I'm all in on that. So that's number 4 with Squid Games. Love it or love it. It's great. Number 3, this came out of nowhere, and this one is going to be unexpected for a lot of people, but not Chris and I. Number 3 on the list is Sex Education. Now, what's so great about this show?
It's just so clever and hilarious. In my opinion, I think it's the best dramedy. Can't really call it a comedy, I guess, but we have our future Doctor Who is in it. We got Gillian Anderson in it. She's amazing. It's English humor. It's so good. It's about basically a high school kid whose mom is a sex therapist, and so he decides to start a sex therapy business at school because you got all these kids who
Very clever.
have all the sex problems and there's nobody helping them. So he does it, and chaos ensues. And it's just very clever, and I think the characters are really well. And I think they wanted the best character reversals of taking a character you hate to making a character you love out of any show I've ever seen in my life. A lot of shows do it. I think they did the best job of it. By the end of this show, she was probably one of my favorite characters, and you hated her at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great character development, great stories, and funny as all get out. I mean, just hilarious.
I will say the third season's not as good, and the ending is very questionable, but it's still entertaining to watch, and at least it got an ending.
I really like the progression of the bully. For those that don't know, that's the character that's clear on the left. And
that was the one I was just talking about.
Yeah, and his the gentleman directly in front of him, their dynamic and how they end up and develop throughout the seasons, I think is really interesting to watch. And actually, the gentleman that's in the front in the wildly wild print shirt will be the next Doctor Who after Tennant.
I think the lead he was Maze Runner?
Was it Maze Runner? I don't know. The only thing I know about the Maze Runner was the lead in that one was the kid from Teen Wolf, the TV series. And he was also in, Love and Monsters, which came out during the pandemic. And if you haven't seen that, it's really good. Love and Monsters, definitely check it out. It's a great, I think, Paramount show.
Ender's Game I was thinking of. He was in the movie Hugo and Ender's Game.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so that's number 3, Sex Education. Number 2, oh boy, Kevin's been waiting for this one. Number 2 with a bullet. Man.
Cobra Kai.
That's right. No mercy.
That's right. Strike hard, strike first.
What
This
an interesting show.
That's my motto.
Ralph Macchio, Wim Zapka. You can't go wrong. After 35 years, they bring these guys back from that original Karate Kid movie, and you see how much they've grown over those years. And what's cool about this, and I wish the Star Wars sequel trilogy had seen this and copied this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
They mix in new characters and old characters properly. You respect the new characters, you like them, they're interesting, but also the old characters are not disrespected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they take time with them.
They take time with them.
And the old characters still kind of drive the story, which is
drive the story.
And
one of my favorite person is Chosen from Part 2. I love how they grew his character. It was awesome. I love the Chosen character.
Yeah, they've made him Chosen. They took a villain from the second film, and they made him into a fantastic protagonist, like a great addition to Team Cobra Kai or Team Miyagi-Do or whatever you want to call it. He's been fantastic in every season he's been in, and I was very excited for these choices. And in fact, it's great to see all this renaissance of the 80s and the 90s starting to come back, because all the people that are in charge in the studios and the development and stuff are understanding that people of that age, of that time, are huge consumers for these kinds of things. So it's that nostalgia that bites, and that's what hooks. And people will tune in for this. And tune in, they did. Originally a YouTube series, by the way. YouTube's one and only real hit that they had on their network before it went belly up, before they just crashed it down and said, no, this isn't working, let it go. They sold the rights to Netflix to produce more content. Again, Netflix smart enough to see the potential, dialing in on that, and then producing the other seasons. And it's continuing to go. We're going to get, what is it, the 5th and final season coming soon? Sixth season. Sixth and final season. That's crazy. 6 seasons, guys.
The show does a fantastic job. I wouldn't say the writing is the best writing in a TV show anywhere on TV, but
no.
The villains are very, very good in the show.
Mm-hmm.
And Sensei Kreese. We can't forget Sensei Kreese. He's awesome.
Terry Silver.
Is that the guy that was in Karate Kid 2, the one where he fights in Tokyo? Tokyo, yeah.
Chosen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's
the best character in the show.
He's a great character, yeah, definitely. And you can see the development within him, and it's great to watch. It's fun watching him. Yeah. The whole thing is fun to watch. You get that, and like Kevin said, you get that balance of new. So you get the new characters like Zolo, fantastic actor. He was in like the best film of the year, Blue Beetle. So definitely go watch that if you haven't yet. But he's the lead, the basic lead of Cobra Kai. Or it started out that way, and now it's kind of boiled out to where there's more starring characters because there's been so much development with each character that one doesn't take precedence over the other, which is what I like as you start to go further into a series.
I will say with Terry being the villain, they really did bring Danny and Tom. What's his name? Tommy. Johnny. Tommy and Johnny.
Yeah,
they really did bring them to the foreground as characters in this last season, because it was more like kind of finishing an old storyline.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get a lot more of them this season, which is kind of what people wanted. So they did a good job of having these. They do a good job of sharing with everybody.
When does the last season come out? When is it?
Well, it depends when the actors' strike is fixed. I'm going to say probably 2025. That's my guess at this point.
All right, so moving on.
Name the studios.
Number 1. Okay, what's number 1 on the list? Gee, I don't know. Can anybody in the chat guess what number 1 on the list would be?
Does it have Winona Ryder in it?
Oh, it's possible. It's possible it does. I could be
have
wrong.
Somebody from Lord of the Rings in it.
I think in a season, probably season 2.
Is the Hellboy guy in it? The second Hellboy?
Oh yeah. I think
the worst one.
He's in there. It wasn't terrible, but it was not great.
Red Guardian?
It was
Red Guardian?
Yeah, we're talking, there we go. Show Bunny's got it. Yep, Stranger Things. So Stranger Things, Janet's got it too. Stranger Things, number 1 with a bullet. And why is Stranger Things number 1? For a lot of reasons. It takes the nostalgia, but it's taking nostalgia from a decade, not from characters from a decade. It's taking nostalgia from a decade in boiling that down into a science fiction horror series. It starts out in science fiction, very much so, and develops, by the time we get to season 4, it develops firmly into a horror series. Now we're dealing straight up horror. And the characters are stronger than ever. Each and every character gets their moment to shine throughout the entire series. Save one episode in season 2, which is absolute trash, but all the rest of it...
You can just ignore that episode because it doesn't connect to anything. So.
No, it doesn't. All of it is fantastic. You could skip that episode, actually, and it would make no difference in the world of Stranger Things. And you'll know the episode when you get to it, guys, if you haven't seen it yet. The Duffer Brothers do a fantastic job of navigating the world of teenagers while working with a bunch of teenagers. They didn't start out as teenagers, they were preteens, and then they grew into teenagers pretty quickly. And now some of them are young men and young women. And it's going to be even more interesting to see them continue on as we get to season 37, which, eventually down the line. No, it's going to end, I think, at season 5?
Yeah, it's 2 more seasons, I think.
No, I think we're at an end. I think there's 1 season left after this. I think so. We just watched season 4, and I think season 5 is it.
6 seasons, so I think it's 6.
Really? Interesting.
I believe it's 6.
Well, maybe so. If that's great for us if that's the case. But we'll see, I guess. But it's a
I'll double
fantastic
check. I'll do
show,
a fact
nonetheless. Show Bunny says, love Stranger Things. It's so smartly done. Janet says, my favorite comment from Shabazz after seeing Goonies for the first time, the same night as Stranger Things, said, they stole the music from Goonies.
The 5th season is going to be the final one, actually.
So this last season, season 5 that comes out, will
Yeah.
be the final season. Okay.
Yeah, I just fact checked. Yeah, season
Okay.
5. Yep.
Okay, great. So, like we thought, except for Chris, who's drunk. Season 5 will be the end of it. And that's going to
That was
basically...
Let him
was
drink
just-
his grandpa juice. Okay?
What-
Leave him
They
alone.
were just hoping.
What is your favorite moment on Stranger Things? Do you have a favorite moment in Stranger Things?
Oh, I don't mind it. It's kind of a spoiler though, but it's a certain person's who you don't really like in the show until you do, and he has the best death on TV I've ever seen.
It's
And
pretty
it is
grand.
so hardcore. It's so hardcore.
It's pretty grand.
That's my favorite moment.
Yeah, that's a good way to explain it, Chris. I do like that. I would say for me, geez, it's probably going to be there. There is another epic death scene that occurs that you really don't care about the character much until it happens, kind of a throwaway character. And they actually did a 4-part miniseries comic book about this character. And it was about finding like this map that he created when he was a kid that led to something possibly that could be something special, like some type of treasure or something. So it's a great little miniseries that Dark Horse produced in collaboration with Netflix for Stranger Things. They produce a bunch of miniseries. In fact, I think, let me check here, but yep, right here, right in front of me, I have a copy of the Stranger Things #1 of 4, The Voyage, which is a new storyline that they have coming with Stranger Things. So it's not necessarily always having to revolve around the kids, but 9 times out of 10 it revolves around the kids. There's a couple one-shots where it's just like the police department and how they deal with all the shit that's going on and how crazy it gets. But if you like Stranger Things, Dark Horse has been producing some great, solid comic book work and some great stories.
Also at Stranger Things comics, Ninja Turtles do a TMNT Stranger Things crossover.
Yep. Yeah. Currently, I think on issue 3 coming up. I think issue 2 just came out not long ago, or was it issue 3? I can't remember. But I think that's a 4-parter.
I think
4 or 5-parter.
I think we're waiting for 4 to come out.
Okay. Yeah, I've read issue 1. It's really solid. I've enjoyed it so far. You get to kind of see the character development and the integration of the Turtles with the characters, how like Donatello gravitates towards the more science-based characters in Stranger Things and stuff, and how that relates, and Mikey and stuff. So you get to see kind of the personalities kind of branch off as they team up to go hunt down, the bad guys. So it's a fun story. And if you get a chance, check out the Dark Horse series that they keep producing. They're putting them out. They had one that was Stranger Things in D&D, which was a lot of fun because they wrote themselves into the world of D&D, which I thought was fantastic. But that's gonna pretty much do us, guys. That's it for the evening.
I would have to say Vecna's monologue is my favorite.
It's great. It's fantastic. Vecna's a fantastic character. And something that we don't expect. He's basically the Lich of if you're still going with D&D type terminology. He's a Lich, and if you don't understand that, then you could also watch Adventure Time, which can explain that to you as well, which is also a fantastic show. So if you get a chance, check that out. But with that,
Swamp Thing's brother.
Right. I want to thank you all for being a part of the show tonight. Thank you for tuning in. I want to give a shout out to Big Sal for being our guest here this evening and being on with us. Mr. Alien, Kevin, at some point that mask has got to come off, man. You've got to take it off. Halloween is over. It's over, sir. Enough with the mask.
Stop living in denial.
Right. Stop living in the past, man. I want to thank, of course, Kevin and Chris for being partners on this. We appreciate you all. And to you guys in the chat, the audience, and to also for you watching later on YouTube. We appreciate you all there, too. And for sticking with us through the entire episode of this. We do appreciate you very much. So thanks for tuning in. And if you're feeling rather thirsty, perhaps
you'll get a visually striking gritty, suspenseful, and always refreshing. Rumble.
Rumble Pop. Yeah. Good night, everybody.
Well,
Take
water
care.
is a little healthier.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. Bye.